You ever see a little kid say something so simple, so direct, so brutally true that it shuts every grown adult around him all the way up? Yeah, I watched that happen, and I ain't gonna lie, it was funny as hell, but it was also one of those moments that sticks with you because the kid wasn't trying to be wise. He wasn't trying to make a point. He wasn't trying to be deep. He was just sick of all the bullshit. And honestly, he had every right to be. See, one thing I've noticed in life is this: grown-ups love acting important while getting absolutely nothing done. We do, especially in public, especially when there's a line, especially when there's some little delay, some confusion, some holdup, some nonsense nobody asked for. That's when adults really start adulting. Crossed arms, sighing, looking around, talking louder than necessary, explaining things nobody needed explained, acting like we're all one sentence away from fixing the whole damn situation. And meanwhile, nothing is moving. That's what this was. Just one of those moments where too many adults were standing around doing what adults do best, turning a simple situation into a whole production. Everybody was talking. Everybody had opinions. Everybody had a look on their face like they were helping, but nobody was helping. That's the important part. Nobody was helping. And in the middle of all this was this little kid, just standing there, watching, quiet. Now I've learned something over the years. When the loudest people in the room are all saying different versions of the same useless thing, sometimes the smartest person there is the one not talking yet. That was this kid. He wasn't whining, wasn't running around, wasn't making a scene. He just had that look like, are y'all serious right now? And the more the adults kept standing there, yapping and delaying everything, the more you could feel it building in him. Because kids don't always have tact, but they do have timing. And they definitely know when grown-ups are full of it. So finally, after standing there watching all these adults hold everything up with their little opinions and side conversations and fake authority, this little dude says, "Y'all be holding up the line." That was it. No attitude, really. Just one clean little verbal uppercut right to the grown-up ego. Y'all be holding up the line. Bro, when I tell you the air changed, it changed. Because the crazy part, he was right. That's what made it hit so hard. Not because it was rude, not because it was unexpected, because it was true. Every adult there had gotten so caught up in the talking, reacting, standing around, and acting involved that we had become the actual problem. Not the situation, not the line, us. We were the holdup. And it took a little kid to say what everybody should have realized 10 minutes earlier. That's why I laughed. Not just because it was funny, but because there is something hilarious about a child having to remind grown people that standing in the damn way while looking concerned is not the same thing as helping. And the part that really got me, he didn't say it in a way that sounded rehearsed. He said it the way only a kid can say something like that, like it was obvious, like he couldn't believe we needed to be told. Like, why are y'all like this? And honestly, fair question. Why are we like that? Why do grown-ups do that so much? Why do we see a situation that needs movement and respond with delay? Why do we always want to look involved, even when involvement is the very thing messing everything up? That's what made this hit bigger than just a funny line, because it wasn't just a kid roasting adults. It was a kid exposing adult behavior in one sentence. And man, that sentence was sharp. Y'all be holding up the line. Simple, clean, accurate, no notes. And I swear, for a second, every grown-up there had that same look on their face too. That little internal reset, that silent realization, that moment where you want to defend yourself, but deep down, you know, nah, that kid got us. And that's humbling. Because adults love thinking experience automatically makes us smarter. But sometimes all experience does is teach you how to overcomplicate simple stuff with confidence. Kids don't always have more knowledge, but sometimes they've still got something we lose over time. The ability to look right at nonsense and call it nonsense. No speech, no ego, no performance, just truth. That's what this was. And that's why I think the moment stayed with me. Because it wasn't just funny, it was real. How many times in life do we do exactly that? At work, in families, in relationships, in arguments, in public. Too many grown people, too many opinions, too much noise, not enough movement. Everybody's talking, nobody helping, whole line held up. And sometimes the smartest thing said in the whole situation is the most basic thing in the room. That's what that kid gave us. Not some genius master plan, not some miracle solution. Just a reminder. Move. Get out of the way. Stop turning everything into a damn committee meeting. That little dude didn't outsmart everybody with some chess move. He just told the truth faster than the adults were willing to. And that's why it landed. Because once he said it, you couldn't unsee it. Now all of a sudden, every grown person there looked exactly like we were. The reason nothing was moving. That's comedy. That's also life. And I think that's why moments like that matter. Because every now and then, life sends you a little messenger in a small package to tell you something obvious you somehow forgot. And this one showed up with zero fear and no patience for adult nonsense. And I respect that. So yeah, I watched a little kid shut every adult up. Not by being louder, not by being older, not by being smarter in the traditional sense. He just had enough honesty to say the one thing nobody else wanted to admit. Y'all be holding up the line. And that's the thing about life. Sometimes the smartest voice in the room is just the one honest enough to say what everybody else is busy standing in the way of. This is midnight roads, and real talk.